Hello and welcome to the Dice Forsaken. I'm Jackson.
And I'm Jono.
Today I'm joined here by Jono. This is our new podcast that we're just getting rolling with. Jono is a man of great intellect and technical capability, hence why I'm doing this podcast with him. Only marred by his love of the British and his inability to roll higher than a 2 when it matters.
And I'm joined by Jackson. Jackson is he's no stranger if you're a part of the Perth bolt action community. He's been a local at tournaments for quite some time. 8 years, he tells me. He's been doing skulls. Recently gone to national and international fame. Going over to WTC and CanCon. He's also one of the most prolific introducers of new players to bolt action I've ever seen. I swear he's got a new player playing every 2 weeks. He's also passionate about lots of other war games, which is good. Yeah. What's up next?
Yeah, well, I think for the benefit of the listeners, we need to start kind of with the basics. Talk about who we are, where we're from, what this podcast is, and what the plan for it is going to be. And then we can roll on into a variety of other topics and plans for the future. So, Jono, why don't you lead off by giving us a bit of an introduction to who you're from and where we are based?
Well, we're based in wonderful sunny Perth, which was actually quite wet this year. We've had a fair bit of rain, but it's now summer.
Yeah, and today is really hot and miserable.
Yeah, 37, first 37 for the year. Well, for this summer anyway, so fun.
Welcome to Australia.
Yeah, pretty much. We're both pretty avid bolt action players. We come in, or we play bolt action. I've been playing for about 4 years. Jackson, how long have you been playing bolt action for?
About 10. I think I worked it out. It's between 10 and 12, or 10 and 11 years.
Yeah, so collectively a number of years.
Collectively more years than bolt actions existed.
Yeah. So the plan for the podcast is that we're going to talk about some wargaming stuff. Both being pretty avid bolt action players, there's going to be a decent amount of bolt action content, but by no means is this a bolt action exclusive podcast. We've got a few game systems that we're pretty keen to get re-going if they once existed. Kick off a bit of Baron's War, try to get Perth happening with a bit of that.
Bit of Frostgrave, mate.
Bit of Frostgrave. Both of us are pretty keen to play some Frostgrave.
Hey, I already have.
Yeah, Jackson's beat me to the punch, but that's
for
all right.
Once.
Yeah. I'm partway through building half a starter army for Bolt.
Hey! Leave that to the hobby, my friend.
Ooh, hobby. Yeah.
Leave that to the hobby.
So yeah, that's sort of the goals for the podcast. We'll see how we go. Apparently 50% of podcasts that get start fail at the 3rd episode, so this is 1/3. If we get to 4, we'll be happy.
Well, if we get to 4, we can call it a day and move on.
We've beaten 50%. That's a good average. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
so no, as you're saying, I mean, I guess the goal for this is for us to chat hobby and chat wargaming in general. If you are in the bolt action scene, you'd be aware of another Perth-based, exclusively bolt action podcast, the HMG guys. They're good mates of ours, and we didn't want to go down just the bolt action content. We've got plenty of that through them. We want to touch on a lot of the other hobbying we do, keep it a little bit more casual, just kind of a bit more of a two mates chatting about their hobby kind of vibe, rather than focusing just on one game and focusing on supplements and events. So I think we will be chatting about, for example, supplements that come out for the games we love and the games we play. But we're also, we don't want to be just tying ourselves just down to whatever the newest release is, whatever's most competitive, whatever is topical at the time for whatever particular game system we play. As Jono said, we both play a lot of bolt action, and that's both of our main games. We both come from a 40k background, as do 95% of wargamers, although I've been reformed for pretty well nearly as long as I've been playing bolt action. and Jono for a little longer.
I did run that for a little bit for a while, but
Well, we can't hold that against you, mate.
yeah. And I still have a bad collection. I mean, a good collection of Space Wolves. So
Bad collection, man. You have got your collection is comprehensive. But yeah, no. So we're going to keep it fairly casual. I mean, I play quite well. I like to think I play reasonably highly competitive end bolt action and narrative end bolt action, and we just wanted to make sure there's lots of good other competitive exclusive content out there. I'd particularly like to shout out Zern Central on YouTube if you've not listened to him. He does amazing stuff in terms of talking people through different tactics and ideas for using different units. But that's not us. I think there's more to bolt action in particular, but other games as well in the narrative space, building themed armies, painting pretty models, collecting things. If this gets off the ground, it's going to become very apparent to all of our listeners, Jono, that you and I love to buy toy soldiers. We're not going to paint for any in any close period of time.
painting
But
is
yeah,
only
we'll see
part
how
of
it
the
goes.
hobby. Collecting is the other.
Yeah, well, both you and I are better at collecting than painting.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, but no. So we'll see how we roll. We're just going to keep it fairly casual and try and keep these episodes to an hour. We're going to do one a month. I think our plan is to record kind of at the start of each month. Hey, Jono?
Yeah, I think the goal will be try and record in the first week of the month and then endeavour to release second week
Yeah.
for people to tune in if they want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All two listeners, because I
Yeah.
assume both, we both have mothers. Surely they'll listen in.
Oh, I don't know. My mum probably won't listen. If
know,
I'm lucky, my wife might listen, but we'll see.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, now we've both mentioned we're fairly avid bolt action players, but what other games have you been playing this year? Anything, Jono?
This year, that's a good question. I've dabbled with a little bit of asymmetric warfare, which I want to play more, but always get sidetracked. For those who don't know what that is, that's a Ultra Moderns skirmish game, single model activation. It's a lot of fun. The base rules are not too hard to get your head around, but there's a lot of really detailed options and stuff if you dive into it. So that's cool. What else have I played? I think that's about it this year. It's been a bit of a rough
Dead Man's
year.
Hand was this year as well,
Dead Man's
wasn't it?
Hand, of course. How can I forget Dead Man's Hand?
Now, I
A
haven't
good
played
friend.
any Dead Man's Hand V2. I talked about it. I've only played Dead Man's Hand V1 back last year. But how'd you find that? You ran a league at the club we're both part of, Outpost 6030.
Yeah, our friend Richard put on a league at Outpost.
Oh, it was Richard who ran it. Sorry, that was
Yeah,
my
Richard ran it. Yeah, it was good. It was a lot of fun. There's quite a few people who've bought into it. Heaps of terrain. Some of it was stuff that I'd cut when my laser was
Jono,
working.
what is Dead Man's Hand for the benefit of our listeners?
Oh, Dead Man's Hand is basically a spaghetti western on the tabletop.
Yeah,
You
kind of
get
10 or
to-
so figures.
Yeah, single model activation again. 10 or so figures, depending on gang build, obviously. You get to run around the table with a 6-shooter or a shotgun or a rifle.
Shotgun's the best.
Shotguns
It's
are good.
amazing blasting someone away with a shotgun at point blank.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal walking up and putting 2 barrels into someone.
Always
we're
good
going to
fun.
get arrested if we're not careful, but, yeah.
Oh, well. You and I say that fairly regularly when we're
Fairly
talking
regularly.
about non-hobbying stuff, let alone when we're
Correct.
talking about hobbying stuff.
Yeah. But no, that was good fun. A pretty successful league as well. So yeah, Dead Man's Hand. Then we had, asymmetric at the start of the year. I did a bit of, tapered off a bit, and plenty of bolt action. What about
Yeah,
you,
nice.
Jackson? What have you been playing this year?
Right, so this year for me was actually kind of my competitive grind year for bolt action. So I've played a lot of bolt action this year, especially at the start
A
of the year.
lot of bolt action.
Yeah, like at the start of the year, it was 2 games a week, which nearly drove me mad. So I obviously was part of the Australia 1 team that went to WTC for bolt action. We did all right. Thank you very much to our captain, Aaron Russell. He's a legend. But that was kind of my main game for the start of the year. But aside from that, I also play at another kind of friendly local gaming group, and we pull out lots of different games. So I can say that I've played a bit of Black Powder, which is Warlord Games, epic, specifically their epic scale stuff, but their rank and flank game based off the old war what is it? The old War Master rules from GW. I've also played a bit of Pike and Shot, which again, similar rule set. But each of those are only even a couple of games of those. We've also just started a Frostgrave League, or campaign, within that particular group. So there's 4 of us starting to play Frostgrave, which is basically you have a wizard and a bunch of schmucks who go into a frozen city. It's kind of a little bit of a cross between a game of Necromunda and a dungeon crawler, trying to get in and get out with the treasure before the zombies, gribblies, and other things from the frozen city eat you. That's played on a 3x3. We'll no doubt get into that later. The other thing is I do have to admit, I have had a GW relapse this year. I've been playing a little bit of Warhammer Fantasy: The Old World.
I had at least one game of 5th Ed this year.
Yeah, or 40k.
40k 5th Ed, yeah.
Yeah, I don't count that as a relapse. It's an old rule set. But we have our stuff from that. That's not a relapse. It's when you go in on the new stuff that's a proper relapse.
Yeah, like The Old World.
Yeah. No, when I was a kid, the Lizardman 8th edition release came out just after I started wargaming, and I got the White Dwarf for that. And always loved dinosaurs. And The Old World came out last year.
Lizardman.
Yeah, The Old World came out last year, and I went, well, I always wanted those miniatures. And then a couple of months after that, I saw someone selling off a stack of figures for cheap. So I bought those, and I've been working my way through them slowly with the idea that my other gaming group that I actually play with every week was talking about Dragon Rampart 2nd edition by Osprey is just released, about playing that. So the idea was I'd build a rank and flank fantasy army, because I don't have a painted rank and flank fantasy army, for use in Kings of War, Warhammer the Old World, and then also a bit of Dragon Rampart. Yeah. I don't.
Yeah, trying to keep it a bit universal, so you can keep it through different rule sets. Use the same army through different rule sets.
Absolutely, kind of find a way to put it together in such a way that I could use it for a few different games. I found out very quickly I'm not a fan of Kings of War. Sorry to all those listeners out there who love it. Just don't love the abstraction of large units kind of not breaking till the end. And we haven't actually wound up playing any Dragon Rampant 2nd edition yet, because obviously we've been nose deep in Frostgrave. But I have played about 4 or 5 games of the Old World just on the side. Just the occasional thing every couple of months. I actually joined a slow grow kind of Tale of Painters type league thing with a few other guys who were mutual friends who invited me because they heard through the grapevine that I was working on lizards. And I've then been extremely flaky and not done anything with it. And not, I've got most of an army done, but I haven't gone to any of the gaming sessions or anything. So that's something I'll continue to work away with on the side. But yeah, those are the games I've played this year. Obviously, as I said, Bolt Action, CanCon and WTC earlier in the year, a few events later in the year. Enjoying the new Soviet book that's just come out. Looking forward to the new Japanese book that is coming out in a few months. But yeah, that's about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you said a couple of those systems, because I've actually played some Black Powder as well. One game. Didn't mind.
Yeah, we played that with mutual friends, didn't we?
Yeah. So that was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was a bit of ACW, wasn't it?
Yeah, ACW. Not my favourite era.
No, you and me both. I'm not a huge ACW fan for the era, but it's a good game to pull out.
Yeah. And then also dabbled with a bit of Tank War.
Yep.
Achtung Panzer.
Achtung Panzer, yeah.
Yeah, it was Achtung Panzer. I played a couple of games of that.
I've not played that yet. I'm keen to hear how that goes.
Yeah, it's quite good. I liked it. It's definitely not a serious tournament game, I don't think. But
no.
It's good.
Excuse to get big toys out on the table and blow things up, though.
Yeah, it was nice to be able to get, a couple of my Cromwells out and a Firefly. You don't get to run them too often in Bolt Action, so not all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I've played a bit of Water Tanker back in the day, but I always felt that kind of felt like a little bit like a bit of a random dice simulator. So I'd be keen at some stage to try Achtung Panzer, and that looks like it's got a little bit more crunch than, say, Water Tanker has.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. So
yeah, cool. Yeah. So as we've now demonstrated that we play way too many games,
far too many, and that doesn't even cover the books that I have sitting on my shelf.
Well, I'm not even going to mention that. I've got to get my Gaslands back out. There's a few RPGs on there. I haven't played Xenos Rampant this year. I'd like to play a bit more of that with
Having
mates.
just acquired Force on Force plus a few supplements. Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty hard to find set, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, moderately hard to find these days, being out of print. So,
Yeah, I'd be keen to do the Bush Wars with you at some stage.
yeah, that'd be a good one.
I hear Eureka
Yeah.
Miniatures has some very nice miniatures for that.
Very nice. Yes.
Yeah.
I may have a few. It's good.
Yeah, you've
They're
mentioned that. I
Yeah.
do need to buy some.
Yeah. I haven't got the Sealoo Scouts yet, but CanCon's coming, so we'll see.
Yes,
Maybe-
both of us are going to CanCon. That's going to be a wild ride. And both
Yeah.
of you and I are going to potentially make some bad mistakes at a couple of those stalls.
Yeah. Might have to set a budget. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, maybe we should set a budget to each of ourselves and try and hold ourselves a bit accountable.
Yeah. That's all right. Oh, Jackson, what has been happening in the hobby for you lately?
Right. Well, I've had a couple of different things going on. So the bulk of my hobby of late has been, in the last couple of months, has been Bolt Action. We've had a few events. The new Soviet book has come out.
We've had a few events for Volt Action in the last few months.
Yeah, we've had two. We had General's Gambit and Skulls. We'll probably no doubt talk about this down the track, but Bolt Action in Perth has an absolutely thriving scene. We're looking at least one event every 2 months, so an average of about 6 events a month if you can make them.
A year.
Obviously, not everyone gets to them. It's very rare for us to have below 20 players sign up for an event. You might get slightly less show up for an event because there's always that wonderful 10% drop rate that comes with an event.
Yeah,
But yeah, we've got a
life
very
happens.
active scene, and it's really just grown with V3. But yeah, so I've mostly been working on that, and part of that was the transition to V1 from V2 to V3 was that every one of my armies transitioned across last year when the edition changed, and I could play each of them as a playable force pretty much. However, that didn't mean that they were good playable forces or that I didn't want to add to them. So I started the year working on my Soviets. I kept adding to them, and I've gotten now in the last couple of months to the point where I've gone to events and gone, well, I only need to add one unit to my Soviet army to make it legal for this tournament or to build the list I want to play for this tournament. I'll just do that rather than painting a whole army.
It's just
And then I
one
was looking
unit.
at it going, I really actually am starting to get sick of playing Soviets. So I have set myself the goal of knocking off the entirety of my remaining Soviet backlog. I've got a huge Soviet collection at the moment. It's most of a company of infantry, plus kind of a couple of squads of a lot of the different special forces and, you know, unique units for the Soviets, and a huge selection of vehicles. So I've got, I think it's about 60 odd miniatures at the start of October and 5 or 6 tanks to knock out that I've accrued over the years as prize support and etc. And I've managed to, in the last since the beginning of October, I've knocked out about 30 odd infantry and some cav and a tank. And I'm working towards finishing that off, hopefully, probably not by the end of the year. I'm working through a batch of 20 odd guys in snowsuits at the moment. That's slowly driving me mad.
That's a
painting
lot of white. That's a lot
It's
of
a
white.
lot
to
of
paint.
white.
Yeah.
Apothecary white contrast is your friend for that, even just to get a layer down, and then you can highlight it up.
Yeah.
My default for that is spray it white, hit it with a layer of apothecary contrast, and then get kind of a grey white, layer it back over except for the low points, obviously, that you want to be in the shadow, and then hit it with a bright white edge highlight. Just keep it simple.
Yeah,
And
I've got
it worked.
I've got the Vallejo Express Color equivalent.
Yeah,
I can't tell you the name of it off the top of my head, but I can see it from where I'm sitting.
it's
and I
just
found that-
such an easy way to do
Oh,
white.
yeah, yeah. I found
It's
it
so
quite
much
useful.
easier than layering it.
I did a couple of Dead Man Hands shirts white,
Yeah,
and it's just easy. It's good. Yeah.
yeah. It still doesn't, take the pain of working with a chalky white paint. In saying that, the best white I've ever found is Vallejo's Cold White. It tends not to get chalky, even at the heat here in WA. It still stays reasonably smooth.
I'm a
when you
big
paint
fan
it.
of their off white because it gets really good coverage.
Yeah, well, the Cold White's the same. I've been really
Yeah.
impressed with it.
The off white's
yeah.
good for British teacups. So
Of course you'd know that.
yeah,
You and your Brits. Some things never change. We will have to discuss very shortly just how many British armies you have.
Yeah, it's not as big as your Russian collection though.
The
But,
individual armies aren't, but you have multiple British armies.
yeah.
Like, But yeah, no. So no, just knocking out the Soviets.
And your lizards with this. Oh, sorry. Go on with the Soviets.
They were this year, but it's a bit earlier in the year to talk about my recent hobby.
Oh, that's true.
So no, I'm just kind of talking about what I've been working on since the start of October, because at least that's plausibly recent. So now I'm working through a batch of 20 odd guys in snowsuits. The other thing I'm working on is for Frostgrave. I have a band of Medbury miniatures orcs, which are lovely sculpts, and they're and some old GW orcs. I have quite an extensive selection of Lord of the Rings miniatures that I haven't really gotten out to play with this year, but I've added some of Medbury miniatures metals to it, and they're lovely. So I'm working on those slowly in between, trying to knock out these Soviets. So that's only 10 or so figures, just a kind of an eclectic selection of models from either Medbury or a few other places. But that will be nearing completion, hopefully, towards the end of the year, as well as our campaign continues. So that's it for hobbying. Oh, the only other thing, I set up some bookshelves for my... This is kind of tangentially related, but set up some bookshelves because I was running out of space for books, and wound up finding space to put a couple of shelves in for figures. They're just the IKEA Billy bookshelves, but they're great. You can put a glass door on them.
IKEA Billy bookshelves are the superior bookshelf.
I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah, I've got a number in the house. And most of my hobby storage is in a Billy bookshelf. So
yeah, just the glass doors. They come up looking quite nice. They're reasonably affordable. The only issue with it is with it all displayed, my younger brother finds great pleasure in waiting till I'm out of the house and then emptying my miniatures from my bookshelf around my room and hiding them all.
Oh, that's
mildly sadistic.
Yeah. It sounds like it's worthy of a noogie or two.
I think at least one.
Yeah.
The issue is he's bigger and stronger than me. So that doesn't quite work.
No, it wouldn't.
But yeah, that's it for me for hobbying. I'm just going to keep pouring away at my Russians.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Lately, this last week was a bit of a mad rush. I found myself short a few guys for my British Army for skulls. And by that I mean I needed some SMGs because my regular Brits, my 50th Northumbrians, didn't have enough guys with SMGs. So I had to build seven and paint 8. I had a couple of random figures from a second-hand lot that I had lying around. Plus I had to build and paint an anti-tank rifle, a Piat. I converted a MMG Bren carrier, so it's got the Vickers on top, which I started building last Saturday at the first day of Skulls. And then I painted those 12 men plus 4 Bren carriers throughout the week, which I finished at 1 o'clock Saturday night before Skulls at 7 o'clock Sunday morning.
You are a madman. When I saw you in the morning, you were not a pretty sight, man. You looked knackered.
2 things didn't work for me in the first game. First was that I was pretty tired. Second, I hadn't had enough coffee, so that's actually 3 things. And third, I drew Jackson.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. We probably should talk about what Skulls is.
Yeah, probably. Skulls is a twice-a-year tournament that Outpost 6030 runs.
Yep, so the club we play at.
Yeah, the club we play at. It is not game-specific, so it's 2 days of tournaments, but there's heaps of different game systems.
They generally run on separate weekends, often?
Yeah, often separate weekends. Every once in a while we'll get 2-on-1 weekend, but that's a lot of work. There is, I think we had 8 or 9 systems over the 2 days this November Skulls.
And lots of good-size events. I mean, like, the day we were playing for Bolt Action, there was like 20 or 30-odd guys for Kill Team, about like nearly 20-ish for War Machine. They were running War Crow, they were running Kings of War.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good day. And the first day was also pretty good too. Wasn't quite as big, but it was still pretty big, so that's nice.
That had a lot of the smaller game systems on it, didn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. I can't remember them all. I should, but I can't.
Come on, Johnny, you're a committee member.
Get
your act together.
Yeah, should get my act together.
Yeah, but no, so Skulls this year was won by our mutual friend and my WTC teammate, Richard, who is a phenomenal player. He's taken over running Skulls from this year for Bolt Action, And this year he chose a de-escalation format. So the first game was 3 hours at 1250 points, and then the next two games were 2 hours and 15 minutes at 750 points. No dice cap, but he had put some list building incentives there that worked as your secondary point, your like secondary deciders. So obviously you had win, loss, draw. Then you had your secondary points that layered on top of that, and that was things like, if you took a veteran Armor 9 vehicle with a heavy anti-tank gun or larger, that was worth a point every game you had it in your list. If you took two full-size squads of 10 or more men, that was worth another point every game. If you finished all 5 turns, that was worth 2 points. A couple of things like that, which really made building lists for the event. And I know we said we weren't going to talk too much in detail about tournaments because we weren't going to be tournament specific, but that made list building for the event quite a challenge.
Yeah,
it
was definitely an interesting tournament to build a list for.
Because you were trying to work out a way to fit, ideally 2 full strength squads and a veteran Armor 9 tank with a heavy anti-tank gun into a 750 point list.
The enticement to shoehorn a veteran Firefly into both my lists was very high.
Just how many British armies do you have again, Jono?
I've only got 4. There's only 4.
Okay, and what are they?
I've got D-Day Army, which is 50th Northumbrians. At least in my head, that's what they are. Currently, they're just late war British. And then I've got a BEF Army, which is a work in progress. A very slow work in progress. I've then got a Commando Army. That and my 50th Northumbrians are
mostly done.
Pretty much painted. It's just adding things here and there. For example, I have a heavy mortar sitting in front of me on the desk, which I need to paint. It's primed, ready to go. It just needs paint.
Yep.
Decals here and there, stuff like that. And then I've got a wonderful, beautiful 90% Paul Hicks Parrot Army from Arnhem, which...
with some of his old bolt action miniature sculpts in it too.
Yeah, with some of the older bolt action figures. It stares at me from the shelf, screaming at me in silver. So that's one of the ones I'm going to have to pull my finger out soon and get going on.
So, dear listeners, what you should be hearing from this is that Jono needs the Union Jack tattooed across his forehead.
I have rocked up to an event with the Union Jack painted on my nails before. Most of the Wine Jacks are not.
Well, I don't really care as long as I get to run my beloved Hungarians. So you painted a stack for skulls. It was a de-escalation event with some quite tight list incentives, and you wanted to fit a Firefly in there.
Yeah. So the Firefly, fortunately, was painted, but I had to find a cheap tank, so that was the MMG Bren to take as the command tank. But yeah, I got that done. That was good. I was pretty happy I got that done.
They came out looking really good, man. Even if you were sleep deprived on Saturday morning when the event began, or Sunday morning when the event began.
Yeah, it got better as the day went. I think I had enough caffeine to help out.
You recovered from the trauma of drawing me.
Oh, yeah. Facing 6 infiltrator units on objectives.
On timely objectives.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Outside of bolt action, like I sort of mentioned earlier, I've got half a Baron's War starter army, which I am in the middle of painting. It's all built.
Yep.
I've got a few of the figures from Footsore as well, which are very beautiful figures. So
that's your project up and coming, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the up and coming project. A bit of colour.
You're trying to con me into playing it, aren't you?
I am. I'll get there. It'll work eventually. There's a couple other guys in Perth who've got stuff for it, so yeah, we're just sort of working our way towards it. We've all been a bit busy getting bolt action and other life things happening, but yeah, I've got my peasant levy painted. They need basing. 2 still need varnish.
You'll have to put some photos up of them. They look good.
Yeah, I'll stick some up on the podcast if we can work out how to do photos. And then I've got the other bits and pieces. I got some armoured archers and some foot knights and some mounted stuff to do. It'll be the first time I've painted horses, so that's going to be interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm at for hobby at the moment. I've got 1,000,001 side projects sitting there.
Always.
I've just acquired From General's Gambit, I got a nice little voucher to Eureka Miniatures, so I've just acquired 3 15mm Bushmasters to go with my 15mm Aussie platoon that I've got, which is now currently game systemless, but I'll find something to use it for.
Oh, well, we always will. I mean, you and
Yeah.
I spend enough time looking at different game systems.
Oh yeah, I've got a bunch of Medbury figures sitting on my desk as well.
Yeah, you and me both.
A combination of them and some of the Warhost figures.
Oh, Paul Hicks sculpts again.
All Hicks sculpts again. Yeah. As with the Footsore Barons War stuff, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, so they'll probably end up being at least part of my Frostgrave gang. I've just got to work out a couple other figures to add into that.
Nice.
So yeah, that's sort of where I'm at.
Yeah, cool. And how did you do on the weekend at Skulls?
I actually don't know where I placed.
Yep.
I had
You went 2 wins and a loss, though, yeah? Or 2 losses and a win?
2 losses and a win in that order.
Okay.
The first game was skewed for points, obviously being the bigger game.
Yeah.
I think that tanked me down a little bit, but, you know, that's all right. You have these days.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to play me.
Yeah, sometimes.
Our tournament games are never even.
Nah, it was
Our tournament games are always ugly.
Yeah, it was a good game, though.
It was fun, but yeah.
Yeah.
You
so
spite killed my Cossacks, you sod.
I did. As long as I could kill some horses, I was happy. So
my horses have got a reputation, haven't they? Anyway.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you place at Skulls, Jackson?
I have no idea. I got to round 3, so won both my first games. So the bigger game, obviously, I was running basically a dice spam Soviet list. So 19 dice at 1250, which was reasonably high given the format because people were shoehorning big stuff into their list.
It was very high given the format.
Yeah, and then 13 at 750, which was mostly fragile stuff.
Yeah, and given there was multiple armies on the day at 5 dice at 750.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, surprisingly, some of them did pretty okay. But yeah, no, so I got to round 3 and was up against Marco, who's another one of our gun players. And that was pretty tight for the first sort of 4 turns. It was Fog of War, Quarters Deployment, and 5 objectives, but Richard had pre-placed the objectives as the TO on the board, so they're mostly in kind of an X format on the board, you know, one in towards each corner and then one in the center. And that was pretty tight till turn 4, and then I made a complete rookie error, brought on a unit in the wrong spot, trying to double down on killing a Stug and taking a corner that way, with it had a couple of Panzerfausts on the unit. Both the Panzerfausts missed, and that was all she wrote. That was kind of the rookie error that sealed the deal. So, you know, Marco won. He played the better game, so good on him. And so he
took out the event, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
It's usually, you know, him or Richard in the running for the top spots. And I'm usually not far behind. Yeah, no, but
yeah.
It was a really good event. It was nice.
Good.
Everything ran to time. Richard did a really good job. The format was quite interesting to build lists for.
Yeah.
It's quite different to what we were used to.
And as
there was
usual,
stacks of time between players. Yeah, we'd never run a standard event here.
No. I was going to say, as usual, the prize support was phenomenal.
Yeah, everyone walked away with more, or well and truly more than their ticket entry.
Yeah.
Like substantially more. You know, players bought things in to contribute. We had a pretty good spread from my understanding of new players.
Yeah, well, Richard did a fair bit to get new players involved. So he matched the first game up by player veterancy. So if you'd played more than X number of games, I don't know what his cutoffs were, but if you played more than X number of games and had experience, you got matched up with other people of similar experience.
Yeah, and reasonable placings I think he used as well.
Yeah, it was random pairings within the veterancies, but it meant that you didn't have a new player playing someone who was just going to walk all over them in the first game. So
no, I just got to walk all over you instead.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was waiting for that. But it was good. It was good. There was a school friend of mine was down for. I think it was his 4th bolt action game. Was game 1 on the day.
I think he said 3rd, man.
3rd. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because we were going to play his 3rd on Tuesday, but life happened and didn't happen. So, but yeah, no, good on Moshi and all the other new players who came down. That was good.
Yeah, we had a good. There was 7 players that had kind of started in the last 12 months or so. It was good to
Yeah,
have them.
yeah, it's really good to see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the community's going really well.
yeah,
Yeah, so no, that was really good. That was Skulls. I think both of us are off to CanCon as our next major event. We'll off
yeah.
to the
That's
Bolt
going to be
Action event there.
that's going to have to start becoming the hobby consuming
Priority.
thought. Yeah, I have to think about what I'm doing for a list. See what variation of British I want to take.
You could actually, pull your finger out and do the German army you have sitting
No, no,
stored
no,
away.
no, no, no.
You got
No,
2 months. You can paint an army.
there's not enough time for that.
Yeah, there is.
No,
Yeah, there is.
no. We'll stay. Probably not. It'll probably be British.
Yeah, I'll probably be rolling with my Soviets at this stage. I mean, my beloved Hungarians, for which I won more in prize support on the weekend. I've got enough gendarmes to do an entire army of military police for my Hungarians.
It's a little
It's
bit
going to be
obsessive.
beautiful. Yeah,
It'll be
well,
good. It'll look good. That's for sure.
dudes in green with bowler hats with feathers in them, man.
Exactly.
It's the
Very
coolest
suave.
uniform known to man, with tassels.
Very, very suave.
Yeah, they're inexperienced, I think. Well, they should be inexperienced. I don't know if the current rules let you actually take them inexperienced. I'm not a fan of the current Hungarian list.
How far away is your
really
Hungarian
interesting.
book, Jackson?
2027 at least.
Yeah, and counting.
Yeah, well, I'm totally not counting for that. Yeah, but my Soviets have got lots done for, so I'll keep working on
Yeah.
those, knock them out.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I think we'll probably both step up this month, next month, and play some practice games. We've
Yeah,
got we've got a strong contingent of bolt action players going over. So
well, there's yourself, myself, Sebastian, Richard, Dave Davidson,
David, yeah,
and Marco. I think Sebastian just came out of the placings at Skulls this weekend. I mean, Dave Davidson and Marco both placed. They're both very
Yeah.
good players. Richard needs no introduction. The man is a fiend. And when he speaks, you listen. And then obviously you and I are no slouches either. So there's 6 of us going that are going to be reasonably competitive, and I think some of us will dispense with the history in order to build something with a little bit of grease behind it.
yes. Look, I'll probably dispense with the history. It's gonna hurt, but I'll do it.
It's a long way to travel.
Yeah,
You need to decide what you're going to do for that event in terms
Yeah.
of you need to decide whether you're going to try and put your best foot forward thematically and historically, or you're going to put your best foot forward gameplay wise.
yeah. For those of you out there, if you happen to be out there listening to us who aren't from Australia, Canberra is quite a trek from Perth. It's a good 4.5 hour flight.
Yeah, my first time I went there, they did a trip. They did an award for furthest travelled, and another player flew from New Zealand, which is like aside from
Another
Papua New
country.
Guinea, the closest other country across an
Yeah.
ocean, and I'd still travelled further than him to get there.
Yeah. So
yeah.
it's a big trip. So if you're going to go, you got to,
You got to make sure what you're doing, whether it's competitive or not, is what you want to do.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, and we'll be meeting up with buddies over there. I mean, my WTC teammates from this year, some other guys that I know, a mutual friend of both of ours, Darren Merritt, we'll shout him out now, from South Australia, messaged me today to say he'd be heading over as an excuse to meet us all, because he's been growing the bolt action scene in South Australia for quite a while now with his Operation Shrike.
And that's
yeah,
been going
no.
pretty good from what I can see.
Oh, it's been going from strength to strength. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a couple of clubs there, Garrison and Group North and a few others and whatnot. And he's kind of built it up outside of the clubs. He's done a phenomenal job. That's really grown. He puts on like decent 20-something player events every year. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, but
Yeah,
no,
it's good.
we'll see. But that's probably it for hobby for us. I mean, I'm sure next
Yeah.
time we chat, we'll have a little bit more of a concrete rather than listing the projects we have on the go. But yeah, no. So I guess our next topic is, what's cool in the community. Have you seen any new models, new hobby techniques, new suppliers that really want to jump out to you that you think are worth mentioning for our viewers?
Well, I got to say the camp group Arnhem
Of course, it was a Paul Hicks
looks
thing,
amazing.
wasn't it?
Yeah, I've chickened out of this one. having a whole para army sitting on my shelf staring at me. I don't need to add another beautiful Paul Hicks sculpted army staring at me from my shelf to make me feel bad. So I've chickened out of that one for now. But I think that ends shortly. The 9th of December, I believe that closes. It's
Which
the
is
1st
only
of December when we record. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I would like to note for the listeners that that the only thing that Jono loves more than a British miniature is a miniature sculpted by Paul Hicks, who I think is British, so maybe that actually counts as the same addiction.
it's even better when it's a British miniature sculpted by Paul Hicks. Anyway,
Okay,
I'll
so
stop.
if it's a British miniature sculpted by a British sculptor, Jono's
stop.
just all on board.
We'll stop fangirling now.
Yeah. I after Southern Thrust, which is an event we did back down in Albany in September, I got a gift voucher from Leadbear Tufts. I'd heard a few other guys raving about his tufts.
Best Tufts in Australia.
Absolutely. So I grabbed the voucher, sent him a message. They came actually this week. There was a bit of a delay with some post stuff. And I got my hands on them, and they are super affordable for a start. They're also lovely. Like, you get a lot for your dollars. Barry over at Leadbear, we're going to shout him out. He's a South Australian, I believe.
I believe so, yeah.
Does lots of... He does the occasional thing for, like, little fields and other, kind of terrain-based, plant-based type stuff. But he has an amazing selection of tufts that are super affordable, and he does amazing price support for the WA scene. I think he does the same for the South Australian boys.
Yeah, he does everything. He does so many different plant terrain things. He does grass trees, so if you want to do an Australian scenic whatever.
And gum trees, he does both of them for...
Yeah, amazing. Like, the tufts are really nice, so I think most of the tufts that are sitting on my shelf are from him.
Yeah, they're really nice. So I actually looked at them and went, I don't actually think I'm ever going to order another set of Gamers Grass Tufts again.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Because that's in the past what I've used. I think he's cheaper per set of tufts than them. You get about the same amount in the packet. I think his tufts are a little bit large. Like, I don't think he has as many of the small tufts, but I haven't actually looked through his entire range. But I'd encourage you to jump on his Facebook.
He's got an old school PDF catalogue that I've got sitting somewhere, and there's a few different sizes and stuff he does. It's
okay.
Cool. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, send that to me. But I just figured we'd shout him out, given he does price support. He's a local Australian business, and he's a top bloke and super great to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
Apart from that, I've really just dabbled. I've been looking at alternate brushes and stuff, so I've just found a makeup brush that does my pin wash clean up perfectly. I'm sure it's not new to anyone. Oh yeah, little eyeshadow brushes.
Oh, okay. I couldn't tell you what those are.
And I was like, what's that? And she's like, this is what it is. And I was like, I need some. And she looked at me really funny. And then I said, it's for painting. She's like, oh, okay, cool. So, yeah. That's pretty good.
Next time we have a painting session, let me know. And I'd be keen to see you in action with those, because I've never mastered dry brushing as a painting technique.
Oh, yeah. The makeup brushes for dry brushes is like... It's a winner because they're cheap and they work.
Yeah, I've tried it a couple of times, and I just keep streaky, messy, grotty stuff, which means I'm dry brushing wrong. It means I've got too much moisture in my brush. But yeah, I just haven't managed to nail it. So I probably should actually get my act together and give that a shot.
I get that still. It's fine. Most of mine's on tank, so it just looks like streaking grime anyway. So.
My tanks are about the only thing I ever dry brush anymore anyway. And it's only a very light dry brush, and then I hit it with oils and weathering, and you can't see anything anyway.
Yeah.
So that kind of concludes that. I think we've kind of got to the most important question of the podcast.
This is the most important question of the podcast.
Well, we call ourselves the Dice Forsaken. I think we need to ask who's been forsaken by the dice this month.
This month. So you go first, Jackson.
Right. Nothing. Look, I'm going to preface this, and it'll probably be the same preface every time we do this, but keep in mind that your dice are never to blame. It's always the player's fault generally for putting you in a situation where the dice can just absolutely foul you up.
Ouch, that's a big call out. Ouch.
Yeah, I'm going to call everyone out on that. Your dice are never the problem. Just play better and don't create opportunities where the dice matter. However, in saying that, one of the missions we played for Skulls had preparatory bombardment. And this isn't my story. I generally have okay dice. Or I don't
he said it's not the dice's fault.
I don't create... I try not to create situations where the dice can put me up the creek. But a mutual acquaintance, a mate of ours, Rowan, got hit by the preparatory bombardment on his veteran T-34-85, which was on his back of his table, ready to push up. And obviously, he issued it took 3 pins or something. He took multiple pins. He issued a rally order to it. So, it's testing on full morale. It's his command vehicle. So if you're not playing bolt action, obviously that means that it's functionally morale 11. So it's taking a 2d6 order test, needing an 11 or lower to pass. He rolls the double 6, just like our logo, and FUBAs, and then rolls the reverse result, and it reverses straight off the table.
Straight off the table.
It's something like a 3% chance for that to happen.
Complete devastation. That's a big tank to lose without doing anything.
And it was in his 750-point list, so it was like nearly 300 points of his 750 points.
Yeah, that's a big oof.
So yeah, that is a case where the dice forsook someone. How about yourself?
Yeah, I haven't got any crazy dice story for this month. My dice have actually been rolling quite well.
What's wrong with you?
Oh no, I don't know what's happened.
You must be not putting yourself in situations where your dice can put you up the creek.
Dave will tell you about my artillery observers rolling something like 4, 5, 6s across.
That's just not cricket.
2 observers, yeah.
That's just not cricket.
But I will put forward my being forsaken by the Excel spreadsheet, and Richard getting me a draw against, or a lineup against Jackson as first game on the weekend. So less forsaken by the dice, more forsaken by Microsoft.
Yeah, well, isn't everyone forsaken by Microsoft every once in a while?
Well, at some point in their life, yeah, that's right. But yeah, I think that about wraps up the episode.
Yeah, hopefully everyone has enjoyed this. We're probably a little bit slow. We just wanted to introduce ourselves. Probably could do with a few more goes to build a little bit of familiarity with talking into a microphone. We're a little bit hesitant. Both of us have been on HMG for their podcast in the past, but it's a little bit different when you're running it rather than just a guest having questions fired at you. So this is very much a learning curve, so bear with us as we continue to try and get this off the ground. And hopefully, we get more than 2 listeners, and we make it do more than 3 episodes.
Yeah, that's the plan. We'll see how the plan goes.
Well, as they say, the best laid plans always go afoul.
Oh, well, thanks for tuning in.
We were the Dice Forsaken.
Yeah, hope to see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.